Hey, listen to Cookout Podcast, episode 335. I'm Brando. I'm here with Ryan today. We're going to give you the full 10. Now hit our theme song! Hey, Ryan. We're back for yet another whirlwind adventure. How you doing?
Good. What is going down? Did you see that when I took all the time to adjust the camera, then I turned it on and it bumped it crooked?
Yep. That's how we do things here in the nation. So in answer to your question of what is going down, a whole bunch is going down. We're going to talk about not a deck today, but the top 10 commanders of all time, air quotes. You'd see the air quotes if you're watching on YouTube. We also got some people to thank, some stories to tell, a contest to talk about, something to give away. Before we get to any of that, we have to thank our official business daddies, FusionGamingOnline.com. They are your source for all your gaming needs.
Ooh, yeah, very much so. Not all of our giveaway needs, but they did provide us with our current giveaway, the full text land secret lair. Non-foil, but still cool if you like the trolley mismatched lands. You can get entered by leaving a comment on our videos, becoming a new subscriber, It's pretty easy. All you have to do is click the little button right there.
It supports the show, makes us know that we're appreciated, makes us appreciate you.
Yeah.
Everybody wins.
Yep. All the social media is either on the screen or in the notes, wherever you find the show, and you can find the posts on how to win. And it's usually like a comment, a tag, you retweet or share the giveaway post, and that gets you entered in. All the names, they go into some big hat that's really an Excel spreadsheet, and then I just get a random number generator. Boom, Robert's Brando's uncle, and we've got a winner.
That's right.
Yeah.
All those things are true.
Yeah. And
yes.
If you wanted to pick up any of those singles from the secret layers, because Fusion has those too, you use CCO Spring promo code, boom, get a discount.
5% off the shit you're going to buy anyway.
Yeah, and people are like, 5%, that's not that much. But it actually is. When you add it all up, I probably saved like $7 trillion over the last couple of years we've been with Fusion.
Let me ask you this, Ryan.
Sure.
5% isn't that much. Let's say you didn't get the 5% and instead I punched you in the face.
I would take a 5% discount instead of being punched in the face.
Let me hit you with an additional scenario.
Sure.
You could get the 5% off or not.
Oh, definitely
right?
Get.
Right?
Yes.
Or, last scenario, you could save 5%.
Yep.
And support one of your favorite online content creating personalities. Or...
That's us. That would be us.
That's us.
Yes.
Or not.
I would choose 5% off and supporting Commander Cookout Podcast and YouTube Entertainment.
See?
Sounds like a good idea.
Right, like I don't know if that's a hierarchy of needs or whatever, but I mean, 5% is 5%, especially if you're going to buy the stuff anyway. You might as well pay less for it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And if you're in America, you pay in America dollars, everything costs $1.
Yeah, all their prices are in Canada dollars, which is like nothing.
Yeah.
It's literally nothing.
You could
walk past a $100 bill on the street. If it's a Canadian $100 bill and you're in the land of the free, you're like, what is this toilet paper doing? What is this funny colored toilet paper doing on the... Did somebody wipe their butt with that already and leave it on the ground?
Our $100 bills are brown.
They are brown. They are brown.
But it's like an unhealthy poop kind of brown. So.
Oh, yeah. Very light colored. Yeah.
It's probably on the screen if you're watching on YouTube. That's what we're talking about anyway.
Yeah, like a slice of roast turkey almost or something, hey? It's kind of like, or that lighter colored, light brown turkey gravy color.
Yeah.
Tis the season to talk about the turkey and the gravy and stuff.
Because we just had Thanksgiving. American Thanksgiving's coming up. Christmas is
Friendsgiving,
just over the
if
hill.
That's what you call it.
Yeah, we call it that too. I have Friendsgiving, Thanksgiving. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, that's a thing. It means something different in Canada, so we talk about it, and not as many people get offended.
Yeah.
But if it's Friendsgiving, it's Friendsgiving. Speaking of friends.
Ooh.
Yeah, we've got a little giveaway to a friend on YouTube that left a comment. We forgot to do it last week, and we only did one pre-show over the last 2 weeks. So we've got our giveaway for the booster pack game from the Geyerson, Starn, and rocket launcher question.
Yeah.
From the pre-show.
I was so happy so many people got rocket launcher. That makes me so happy.
Yeah. So pre-show, if you're new, you watch the pre-show. It's a little warm-up show. We do a giveaway. We do a little booster pack guessing game. It's lots of fun.
We talk shit.
And lots of people when one guy figures it out, when one person figures it out, everybody just piles on. Oh yeah, that's the answer. Yeah,
I totally knew that.
So it's easy to win, and if you play, you will win.
That's true. You will.
Yeah. So you can watch it. I'll put a little link up here somewhere. I'm on a different side today, so I don't know where to push or where to point. I think whatever.
It'll be around.
Winner. Guyerson Starn, rocket launcher, had 2 entries because he got both things right. I
Nice.
checked. Roberto 7.
Roberto 7?
Yeah, but it's bear. Like BEAR toe 7.
Rob Bear Toe 7.
Rob Bear
That means
toe
there
7.
are at least 6 other Rob Bear Toes. That's amazing.
Maybe he's 7. Maybe he's born in the year 7. Some people use the year that they're born.
Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe he's Roberto Christ.
Yeah, what was Jesus like in real life? I wonder.
Born in 7. Was Jesus around in 7?
Or did he die in 0? I don't know.
He was resurrected in 0, wasn't he?
I don't know. I don't know how all that stuff
I don't know.
works.
Was he around? Like, where did he go after?
I assume he just did some stuff. He'd be a rock star. He'd be a celebrity, man.
Yeah,
he
maybe
came back from the
he'd be
dead.
in Vegas like CCO.
Oh shit!
Hey.
You're probably right. He was probably doing the GCO experience, where the G stands for Jesus.
The Jesus Christ out. The Jesus Cookout experience. I think the Jesus Christ out sounds better.
I think that probably does sound better because we're going to be in Vegas.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
We got to let Roberto know what he's got to do. You got to email Commander Cookout
with your address, and if you're not Roberto 7, don't email because it's the honor system, and you don't want to ruin it for everybody.
That's right. Let us know your address. Let us know if you want a booster pack, a CCO sticker pack, or a CCO token pack, and we'll send it to you in the mail.
Everybody loves getting mail.
Yeah, and
that's the truth.
Yeah, I usually do those at the end of the month so I can do the giveaway winners, the booster pack game winners, and the new Patreon supporters all in one trip. So I can do it all at once.
He lives far away from the post office.
Yeah, so if you're a new patron and you haven't received your sign-up gifts yet, they are coming. I just did a bunch of them, and I did the Commander Collection Black, and I did booster pack game stuff. It's all done, and it's en route to you. But remember, we are in the Great White North. Postal service is a little bit slower. It's got to go through customs. Then UPS has got to get it, and they got to make sure that there's no bad stuff in it, and then it comes to you. And the only bad stuff in it is if you get a booster pack and it's got bad cards.
Probably does. Sorry.
Yeah. Some of them came from Brando's collection.
Yeah, I got close to them, and they know.
The cards just materialized into other cards.
All the rares just fall out of the packs.
Yeah, that's it. But I guess that's why everybody wants token packs instead of booster packs.
Probably, hey. They're just replaced like a saltine cracker. Not even a bad card.
Do they call them saltines in the land of the free?
I don't know. I don't even know if we call them saltines here. I just wanted to say that word.
I was talking to the boy about food and drink and culture and music and language and culture stuff, teaching him about that because we've got a vacation planned this winter. And I was teaching him about different foods and stuff. And that reminded me of that. Bad story. Great. Fucking awesome story, Ryan. It's like you're talking online. Anyways, we've got a topic today that is a little bit different than what we normally do. And it was inspired by Brando wanting to expand on a recent top 5 and 5 that we did. You can find it up here or link in the comments below wherever you watch the show or whatever. You should watch our top 5s. They're freaking good.
Yeah, they're good.
And editor Tyler does a lot of work and has really learned how to make them look like real YouTube videos, which is pretty cool.
Right.
Pretty freaking cool that somebody wanted to help us and do a good job.
Right.
So we did top 5 commanders of all time over the last 2 years and what to play instead. And Brando wanted to expand on that because we don't really see a trend in the top commanders, and that's both a good thing and a bad thing, I think.
I think that there's two.
Okay.
There's two trends.
Like arcing trends over all 10 of them? We're going to do the top 10.
Oh, over all time of Commander in the top 10, because there's somebody that's just always been there forever, and everybody knows who that is, and we're going to talk about that in a second. Yeah. And there's one that I think will always probably be there for reasons that we will talk about later on. But other than that, when I looked at this, I was surprised. I was actually surprised at who exists in the top 10. I really am.
You know what? I was legitimately surprised and said things like, no way. And really? Already? When I looked at the top 15 more than the top 10.
Yeah. I went down pretty deep too because I was looking for like, where's ones that I play, damn it.
Yeah.
Because you'll always look for your own guys in the top 100, right?
Now, we don't want to sound too much like EDH Recast, and we're reading right off of EDH Rec, so it's going to be hard. And no shade at them because they do a great cast, and we've been on it. Episode 99 was the last time. Check it out. But we want to talk a little bit about maybe our experiences with these commanders and what makes a commander good, I guess.
In our local group, I can say currently within the last
our EDH&M group or the group of like CCO Dude Bros?
EDH&M.
Okay.
I have played against 9 of the top 10 in the calendar year 2020.
2020?
2022, sorry. I forgot what year it was.
Okay, well, let's read the top 10. People are screaming at their screens right now. So, what the fuck, you guys?
Okay,
read the top 10 from whatever to whatever. I don't care what order.
We're going to go from 10 to 1.
Okay.
Because everybody knows what 1 is, so it'll be a surprise when I get there. Omnath Locus of Creation is 10. Number 9 is Corvold Fey Cursed King.
Yep.
8 is Wilhelt the Rot Cleaver.
That was the first one where I said, what? Really? What?
Prosper Tomebound, another one that just skyrocketed up there. Edgar Markov, Kenrith Returned King, the Dragon, Yuriko the Tiger's Shadow, Lathril Blade of the Elves, and then let's all take a second. Who's number 1? And then we can all say it together. It's Atraxa.
Atraxa.
Yeah, we don't even need to say her whole name because everybody knows Atraxa.
And there is only one Atraxa where a couple of these other ones have multiple iterations, like Edgar's got 2. There's an Dragon and Scion of the Dragon, etc.
Yes.
So right off the bat, I want to say I identified a couple trends. And remember, we're asking the questions, what makes people want to play these? What and I don't think it's a surprise that a lot of these decks are considered to be, or commanders, are considered to be the commanders of powerful decks when you think of what their deck is, in air quotes. And a lot of them have a good range, right? Where you could build it this way and make it be maybe very powerful, or you can build it another way. But the couple trends I see are multicolor.
The first monocolor available on the list of top 100.
Oh, I like this.
Get this. Cranko Mob Boss.
Oh, Crank my dank.
My boy Crank. He's number 14.
And he falls into the trend that I see in tribal. So let's go back up to the top 10. I see Lathril. That's Elf Ball. Yep. Elf Ball traditionally being mono green, and when you look at Lathril decks, probably 85% green, but she also gives you access to black, which is tutors, reanimation, kill spells, maybe card draw. And I mean card draw that's lower to the ground in like the 2 and 3 drop slot instead of the 5 and 6 drop slot.
Yeah.
Yuriko's got ninjas, Dragon has dragons, Edgar's got vampires, Wilhelt's got vampires, and
zombies.
Zombies. And the rest of them, you could make a case for some tribe, maybe Omnath and Elementals.
But we're not gonna.
But I don't think that Omnath Locus of Creation decks are Elemental tribal decks. Most of them are going to be lands decks.
Yes.
And I think that's the only land commander in the top 10, right?
Yep.
So we see multicolor stuff. That's kind of a given because everybody knows that when you add more colors, most likely you're going to add a diversity of strategy and you're going to add power because you're getting access to things that your monocolor might not have access to unless you're playing mono green.
I'm glad that you made that cap because I was like, oh, I can't wait to tell him, but wait, there's green.
Or you're playing tribal, which I think is at one of the foundations of EDH of old is tribal because you used elder dragons and you could play dragon tribal.
I really, really like that tribal decks have stuck around the way that they have. They still hang in there. You're still going to run into them all the time. And I would be willing to bet that everybody has one. Anybody who has like 3-ish decks, they have one. Whether they want to admit it or not, everybody has a tribal deck. That's cool.
Here's a question. I wonder what percentage of new to Commander or new Magic the Gathering players, I wonder what percentage of that group, what percentage of them builds their first deck as a tribal deck?
I'll bet you it's very high.
I bet you it's high.
Let us know in the comments.
What do you think?
Was your first deck a tribal deck? Do you have one still? Like, I'll bet
Who
you.
are they? Link us a deck list in the comments on YouTube or on Twitter or on Facebook, because we post the show on all three of those platforms, and share your creation, especially if it's a unique one. Like if you're playing Lathril, not Elf Ball. Yeah. Edgar, not 1-drop vampires. Let us know the list.
Edgar, 6-drop vampires.
Yes. Edgar zombies. Yeah. Let us know, because those are the kinds of things that CCO of old was kind of built on, was weird shit. Like just the other day, we did a Demir burn deck.
Sick.
Right? Like, and it was very popular.
Yeah,
People loved it.
It's very good.
So if you got stuff like that, you let us know in the Discord or on any of the socials. All the links are below.
Yeah.
So what do you say? Let's check these notes here. You said that you've played 9 or 10 of these in the last year.
Yep.
And that's no surprise, because I think that our meta, both the CCO Dude Bros, the people that you frequently play with online, and the people at EDH and M, that's EDH Night Magic, I think all of those groups are very, and not to slight them, but very typical, very average groups.
Well, they're
very normal 7 out of 10 groups.
Which is why we play with them.
Yes.
But I think that a lot of that does come down to, like, none of them are boring. You know what I mean? Like, there are commanders that are boring. Virtually every Izzet commander, in my estimation, is boring, because it's some variation of play a spell, copy a spell, draw a card. Boros is always typically some kind of variation of play dudes that are small and attack with them.
Do some attacky thing.
Not that that's boring if that's your jam. Yeah.
You know what? I would call that an overarching trend. There are some things that buck the trend, right? Like if you imagine the bell curve, a lot of Boros commanders are underneath the bell curve line.
Yes.
Right? And the bell curve line represents do something with combat.
Yes.
Some of them buck the trend.
Oh, yeah.
And those are the ones that are both interesting. But I'm not sure that these top teners, I'm not sure that a lot of them, they are the trend. They're the trend line. They don't buck it. They are it.
They're the baseline in a lot of cases.
And does that make them... Obviously, that makes them powerful. Does that make them kind of like a slog to run into? Like, I'm probably going to, in Vegas, I'm probably going to play against Edgar several times because he's popular. And every time I sit down, I'm going to ask, is this like the 1-drop hyper aggro Edgar deck where I'm going to be dead on turn 3? Or is this like a little bit calm down, more casual Edgar with vampires that I don't normally see? I'm going to ask that question.
Are you playing skeletal vampire?
Exactly. That's a 6-drop.
Yep.
And that's not because I'm slighted against Edgar players or don't want to play against them. It's so I get my own good experience. I know how fast of a deck to play. So like I have a hard time with kind of saying that these are good or bad, or I like playing against them or I don't. Because every freaking Yuriko deck I've ever played is going to play that like 9-drop, take an extra turn spell with Delve.
Yeah.
Right? And
time stretch.
Yeah, those kinds of spells I don't really like playing against because it leads to one player taking all the turns.
Yeah.
But it's not that I mind those cards really. It's just that they're always in Yuriko decks and that's the only place I see them.
Yeah, I think that...
So I have a hard time.
For me, I think that Yuriko is actually the only one on here that I kind of go... Like, I don't groan and leave, but like...
Oh.
Because, like you say, they are kind of all the same. Because there's only so many spells that you actually want to play that cost 10. And Yuriko plays them all. And it just makes the game go super fast. It's just kind of like deck stacking and swing and die and whatever.
I think mine is Lathril, because everyone I've ever ran into, and this is a stereotype, I know, and I do my best to not stereotype, but Lathril is Elf Ball, and that's the only way I've ever seen it built.
Me too.
And even my Lathril deck, when I switched it from Hogak to Lathril, was Elf Ball.
It was Elf Ball, yeah.
We played a bunch of elves in a row, and then it won with Craterhoof, or Triumph of the Hordes, or Overwhelming Stampede, Or all of those.
Yeah, or all of them on the same turn because they're playing elf ball.
And I don't know if there's any other way to slice it. Like, I don't think I can say it's elf ball, but it's not that elf ball. It doesn't have Triumph and Crater Hoof and Overwhelming Stampede. Well, does it have Overrun and Beastmaster Ascension then? And Pathbreaker Ibex?
And Kamal Fist of Corrosa.
Yeah, and they're like, yeah. Oh, so it's still that deck.
Yeah, it's still doing the same thing.
And again, that's fine. And you can tune that to play at whatever power level, scale, whatever you want. But that's the only way that deck gets built in my experience.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like Edgar. Like playing Edgar without vampires in it, why are you doing that?
Yeah, we're not really.
Yeah, Lathril with no elves in it. Why are you even doing that?
Exactly.
Aside to be cute, like.
Do you think it's because elves and vampires are like the most popular tribes?
Yes. Yes, that's why Krenko is so high as well, because people love goblins.
People love elves. People like vampires. People like goblins. Yeah. Is Lathril the best elf commander?
I think she's accessible in price.
Yep.
She is accessible in that you have 2 colors, which makes it easier to actually physically get cards for your deck.
To fill it up with enough elves. Not that mono green doesn't have enough elves, but you get access to black, so she's better than mono green elf commander of choice.
Yeah, like maybe Lathril is a big spend, and maybe like Beast Within is $5, and you don't want to buy a Beast Within, but it's $1 to get a Vendetta.
A fucking Doomblade's free.
Yeah, exactly. it's $0 to get a Terror.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe that has something to do with it. And I think that vampires are also incredibly popular.
Yeah.
And I mean, with vampires.
So flipping to Edgar.
Yeah, flipping to Edgar. I think that Edgar is he the only real vampire commander? If you want to play all the vampires and you want to play the vampire deck, which people do.
Yep.
That's why he's there.
Well, you get access to white over top Olivia variants. So there's 2 or 3 Olivias. Yep. The other Edgar, I think, is all 3 colors.
But he sucks.
Yeah. Now, case to play other sucky Edgar or Olivia and be limited to just Rakdos vampires, Edgar Markov proper, $85.
That's like 110 Canadian. Like, he's big money.
Yeah, not everybody just has that. And only printed as a pre-con in 2017 and I think a Judge promo. And trust me, Judge promos aren't often cheaper than the original printings.
What's the one? I found one. I was like, I'll buy the Judge promo because it costs less. What the hell? Oh, Foil Gamble.
Foil Gamble. I got a foil judge. Stroke of Genius. Hey, that's a nice one. Hey,
that's pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, not cheap. Not cheap. So,
should we jump over and talk about the individual? Let's talk about these 10 cards. We will give the CCO reason why we think these 10 cards show up on this list.
Sure.
Yeah. So should we start at the bottom or at the top?
I don't think it matters because we read them all already. Well, but we just talked about Lathril and Edgar and stuff. Let's start at the bottom because we'll talk about, I guess, Omnath again.
Omnath, Locus of Rage. We'll give him a read. He's a 4/4 elemental for everything but black.
Yep.
When he enters the battlefield, draw a card. Sure. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 4 life. If this is the first time it happened, for the second land, you get his colors, everything but black. For the third time, it deals 4 damage to each opponent and each planeswalker you don't control.
Ooh.
So it's a landfall deck with 4 colors in it.
Yep. And a landfall deck with 4 colors in it where you can blink him in blue and white and then landfall again to continue to deal 4 damage to people.
Yep.
Yeah, this represents the land deck in the top 10. The land deck being a very popular archetype, strategy, whatever. Is this the best lands deck commander when you want to do the very typical land deck thing?
I'm going to say it is not.
You like Omnath 2, the 2-color one.
Yes. But, and I don't think Omnath 2 is there. I don't think he's the best one either. I mean, he is, obviously when I'm playing him, he is. But I think that number 11 on the list, Muldrotha, I think might be better.
You like Muldrotha lands better. It doesn't even say landfall on the card.
I know, but I just think that it's better. And I think that, it gives you access to 3 colors. Yep. One of them isn't red, which is an immediate thing. But I think that
And we talked about the access to color thing affecting popularity. Yes.
Muldrotha on the card gives you access to playing lands from your graveyard, and it just gives you more access to the things you have to do without having to invest deck space in cards or financial resources in acquiring these cards. And that's why I think that Omnath Locus of Creation is so high, because Blink stuff isn't super expensive, and you can, having 4 lands, 4 colors, you have you don't have to go out and buy like 9 fetches and 1 shock and all this other really specific stuff for 2 or 3 colors, because when you have access to 4, you can kind of use whatever you have lying around for your fledgling landfall deck. And I think that like it's the most budget option.
You're going to get people saying, wait a second, Brando, 4 color mana bases are not easier than 2 color mana bases.
They're not. They're not. It's just you can make them on the cheaper if you want.
I suppose.
If you want the best lands in 2 colors, I'm not saying it's more expensive, but like your options are significantly limited over playing 4.
What is,
in my opinion,
this is what I got on Omnath. This is what I was thinking about with him. What is the nice way to say Omnath spoon feeds you? What's the nice thing to say there?
That's it.
Spoon feed, but that has a negative connotation, and I don't want that. I don't want to say that Omnath spoon feeds the land players.
We've all heard the expression "reading the card explains the card."
Yes.
Reading Omnath explains Omnath. He gives you a 1, 2, 3 step process to building a very stout deck, and
all of his things that he does are good, and he says landfall on him. Do you think? Again, I don't want to call it spoon feeding because I don't want anybody to have that negative connotation about any of these. I don't want anybody to think that they're bad if they play these.
No, not at all.
And I don't usually say stuff like that because I don't like listening to stuff like that. But spoon feed is the term that comes to mind.
We're going to use the word spoon feed because,
with Omnath.
He explained. And he's a fucking cool picture.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, Omnath is so pretty cool. I can't wait for 5-color Omnath.
Do you think that he deserves a spot in the top 10? And or what would you replace? Would you switch Omnath at 10 and Muldrotha at 11?
Yes.
I bet you if we took the top 10 over the last 3 or 4 years, Muldrotha would be in there and Omnath would not.
Yes.
Easy because Muldrotha's been around longer.
Yeah, but I firmly agree. I firmly believe that is a thing because I think that Muldrotha and Omnath are air quotes the same deck, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, you're trading black for red and white.
Yeah, and
then you're doing landfall stuff.
Like you're probably trading up there in a lot of people's eyes, right?
You're probably trading.
And I'm a red player, and I can admit it. I know where things go.
Yeah.
Let's
Number
move on
9
to Corvald the Fey-Cursed King, a 4/4 Dragon Noble with flying for Jund 2. Whenever it comes into play or attacks, you sack a Permy. Whenever you sack a Permy, put a +1/+1 counter on him and draw a card. I'm going to make an admission in front of the entire internet right now.
Yep.
Don't get it. I know that the decks are strong. I've played against the decks. I do not get it.
What is it that you don't get?
I've seen...
Like why it's so good?
I've seen him be good. I've played against him where he's real good.
Yeah.
I've heard people talk about how good he is.
He's good.
I play him in a deck where he is good.
Hey, that's a good start.
But I still don't I don't get it. Because he's everywhere. And I don't get it.
Whenever you sacrifice a permanent, put a +1 counter and draw a card.
Yeah.
Him and Tulane printed in the same type of product, the Brawl intro Throne of Eldraine decks.
You remember Brawl?
No. That say +1 counter and draw a card when you do something that the color combination already wants to do.
Yeah.
Think of a Marin deck. Think of how often our friend FU Alex been on Sidewalk Slam a couple times.
Yep.
Champion of Sidewalk Slam 1, but you don't remember.
No, I don't remember that. How did he do on Sidewalk Slam 5?
He did not win.
Weird.
Yeah. So think of how many times he sacrifices things in his Marin deck.
Right.
Now add red.
Oh, yeah. Now we're talking.
And when you sacrifice your Spore Frog or something to your Viscera Seer, you also draw a card. It's pretty good. Also,
okay.
When you do said thing, you're also making your flying beater bigger. Yeah.
So is Corvald, Fey-Cursed King, this high in the list because he is I'm going to use the air quotes again, the best Jund commander. And Jund is cool. People like to play Jund. I'm one of them.
Yep.
Is Korvald here because he is the best Jund thing? If you want to just build a Jund deck, you just want to Jund harder than the next guy? Is that
the answer to that question is a tricky one because we would have to determine what best means, and that could be an entire arc of shows.
Oh yeah,
that isn't a topic that we're aiming to tackle here.
Let me drill down the question a little bit. If you look at the color identity Jund,
yes,
typically you've got efficient creatures, good removal, lots of sacking stuff, lots of treasures, lots of that kind of business.
Staying power in green and black, getting stuff from graveyards.
Every single thing that I said makes Korvald really good because you're going to draw cards and make a giant beater.
Yep.
So you play him over Shattergang Brothers. Because Shattergang Brothers is the one I play, and I play Korvald in that deck for obvious reasons because they all kind of work together.
Yep.
Is he kind of the most accessible ground floor one? Because he's a lot more accessible than, say, a Windgrace.
I'm going to do this thing. I'm being facetious when I do this, though.
Tell me.
To answer the question of accessibility is tough and could probably be its an entire arc of things because accessibility can mean so many things. Shattergang Brothers, not $15.
Yes.
Korvald is.
Shattergang Brothers recently reprinted. You can pick one up at any game store.
Yeah, it's probably stopping a door from closing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think Korvald is the most powerful Jund commander because the Jund deck, you can just put him in and it's going to be good. It's going to be better with Korvald as the commander because he lets you do more stuff just because you're already doing the thing that you're doing. And I think he's in the top 10 because he has a wide swath of buildability or power across a lot of different formats. You could play him cEDH, or you could play him casual dragon, like Jund Dragon Tribal.
Yeah, with Krithus steal all the dragons guy.
Yeah, and
Pirate of Jund.
And that is a good deck, and you don't even need another one on our list, the Ur-Dragon, and it's still good because most of the good dragons are in red and black.
Yeah.
Right? So you could do Dragon Tribal with him, you could do cEDH, you could do Sacrifice Tribal.
And you know where the next
you
level...
You could do a Marin deck, and I want to play Lightning Bolt in my Marin deck, and you could literally make your Marin deck maybe better.
Ooh.
Because you put Marin in the 99, you're playing tutors in red and black and green.
Yeah.
And Marin's green, so all the green tutors can get her. And now you have this card draw engine that beats in your command zone. So, yeah, I think he's probably the best one because you're doing all the stuff that he wants you to do, and you're getting more benefit because you can play him.
CCO Brando hot take.
Huh?
Jund is the most popular 3-color combination because it's the only triome represented in the top 10.
Oh, yeah?
Everybody else has something else. This is just, it Junds harder than other things.
You know, I bet you
There's no Esper thing up in here.
I bet you that logic. Oh, Edgar.
Not vampires. Edgar is vampires, not Mardu. You're not just going to build a Mardu deck and put Edgar on top of it.
Oh, okay.
Because you could build... I just want a Jund hard. I want a Jund hard, I'll play Korvald.
Yes.
I think that's a thing.
Logic probably isn't that far off of sound. I like that. Let's move on to number 8.
This one still surprises me.
This one surprises me too.
Ryan's going to explain this one to all of us. Will Help the Rot Cleaver is a 3/3 zombie warrior for blue-black 2. Whenever another zombie you control eats shit, if it didn't have Decayed, you get a 2/2 black zombie with Decayed.
Okay.
At the beginning of your end step, you may sack a zombie. If you do, draw a card. Now, of all the zombie commanders you could possibly play, do you play this one because it says draw a card on it?
That's one of the reasons.
You get to draw one card at the end of your turn for sacking one of your dudes. Is that why you play this?
Let's look at a checklist let's make a checklist of all the reasons that would make Will Help the most popular zombie commander.
Okay.
He says draw a card on it.
Sure.
He says draw a card when you sacrifice a zombie.
Sure.
Which I think are two different things.
Yes.
He says sacrifice a zombie is one. He says draw a card.
Yes.
And those are both things.
Yes.
He gives you a zombie which could have zombie implications.
Right.
Now, you get a zombie with Decayed, and you have a zombie hit your battle or your graveyard.
Right.
You get something when that zombie hits your graveyard when you have like a Vengeful Dead or a Blood Artist or an Aristocrat type effect.
Right.
And you get a zombie ETB, and you want that zombie to be in the graveyard anyways to mass reanimate or just regular reanimate and take advantage of the ETB with a Grey Merchant, for example.
Okay.
So that kind of all fits into 3 or 4 checkpoints.
Yep.
Also, he gives you access to blue.
Sure.
And blue is important because Innistrad 1.0 gave us a bunch of very both good zombies and zombies that can combo.
And lots of zombie stuff in blue.
And Rooftop Storm.
Yeah, that was the one I was thinking of.
Yeah. Which allows you to combo for free with things like Gravecrawler, which would give you infinite 2/2 black zombies.
Well, you can only do this once. Well, just for him, I guess. Yeah, if you had a zombie sack, I guess.
Yes. Like if you have a sack outlet for your Gravecrawler and you can pay it for free, like a Viscera Seer, scry your whole deck.
Yeah.
Or make black mana, make infinite mana with altars like Phyrexian and Ashnods.
Yeah.
This guy can combo and give you more sack fodder, so you go mana positive. So he can combo. That's another. Maybe that's checkpoint 6.
Sure.
He's very attainable and came with a zombie tribal deck already. Maybe that's checkpoint 7.
Ooh.
I don't need to go out and find a Balthor, which isn't cheap anymore, which is my preferred zombie commander.
Mm-hmm.
It's better than something like my other zombie commander, Lord of Tressorhorn. And it gives us access to blue. I think that's the biggest thing.
Because there's a zombie, I can never remember her damn name, the Esper one.
Yes, Verena,
That's
the
the
Lich
one.
Queen. Yeah,
Yeah,
she
like-
gives us access to white, so you can play the white zombies. There are some.
Yeah, and blue.
There's several, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean,
Yeah.
so
And
why
that
why
one says draw a card and scry on it.
So let's say that he's here because he's a zombie
Yep.
commander. Why is he here and not Galena? Because
Verena.
I would suggest that Verena might be a more powerful zombie commander. So why do we have this one? Is it because he's a come on, Brando. Think of the word precon. Is he because he's a precon guy?
I really think that could be one. Verena's
a precon too.
Verena's a precon too, yeah.
What the hell?
I think that this guy is a little bit more immediate zombie horde. In my mind, I don't need to draw cards to make a zombie horde. I just have to have my zombies die and then I get them back because I'm zombieing. And he gives you that zombie horde without really having to do anything. It seems like, again, this one's not spoon feeding, but this one feels like it's an easier build without having to think about what I need to put in to scry with Verena and zombies dying or whatever she does. I think this one just seems easier. Now, the other thing I think of is, and we mentioned them already, EDH Recast, Joey Schultz, one of his main decks that he talks about all the time is Wilhelt. And I would be remiss to think that content creators, especially ones at the elevation that EDH Recast is on now, I think that content creators do have a little bit of an influence of what is perceived to be good in Commander, and that could have something to do with it.
So why the hell is Korvald on here and not the Shattergang brothers? God damn it!
Oh man.
Let's move on to the next one.
Okay.
And I've just noticed another trend. I'm gonna make you groan so hard at the end of this whole thing with it.
Okay.
Prosper Tomebound is our next one. It's a Tiefling Warlock 1/4 for Rakdos and 2 with Death Touch. At the beginning of your end step, exile the top card of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play that card, and whenever you play a card from exile, create a treasure token.
Whenever you play a card from exile, that includes lands, you get a treasure token.
Right.
So this is obviously Tiefling Warlock Tribal.
Yep.
Death Touch Tribal.
Yep. 100%.
Yep. Treasure Tribal.
Death Touch and Treasures, super popular. Rakdos, the best treasure colors you're going to play. Obviously why this is here.
Well, Treasure Tribal is really a thing.
Yeah. But it's,
And playing stuff from exile, there's the, if we're going to label it, there's the spoon feed. That's the Chaos Draw in red, right? That's what we call it, Chaos Draw. This is the Chaos card, but also it gives you access to, and I think this is the cool part, things you can't normally do. Like benefit from casting stuff from exile, benefit from taking that risk.
Yeah.
Playing stuff for its madness cost, you're actually casting it from exile. What else do you cast from exile?
Possibility Storm cards?
Sure. Yeah, there you go. This lets you take the risk and be rewarded for it.
Yeah.
Which I think is very cool. It lets you play treasures, which are very...
And you get a treasure instead of a wolf.
Hey, yeah.
With Faldorn.
Yeah. And you get black instead of green, which...
I think that at this point, that's probably an even trade.
Pick what you want to play, I guess. Maybe in a year from now, Faldorn will be up there.
Treasure probably better than wolf.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, Faldorn won't be up there.
Yeah.
Because treasure better than wolf significantly.
Yes.
That's like a free mana.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know if I have a ton to say about this.
I think that Prosper is actually the first one that we've come to that's like, yeah.
It does the treasure thing. It gives you multiple colors with a myriad of strategies in those colors that you could spend on treasure. And it lets you draw cards. I guess that's the trend. There it is. Multiple colors, gives you a benefit from casting cards and lets you draw cards.
All 4 of the cards that we've talked about so far have said some version of draw a card on it.
That's a good trend. Maybe that's the trend.
We've talked about Edgar lots. We all know why he's here. I think it's all the old Buffy the Vampire Slayer boomers that just love vampires.
Definitely.
And so Edgar Markov is here because Vampire Tribal's the shit and everybody likes it.
Yeah, and everybody who simps over cosplay girls that dress up. Not that I'm throwing shade on them because I love them all, but...
Yeah, not that I don't want to see people dressed up as vampires because it's fucking cool.
Yeah, especially Kate Beckinsale from Underworld 1.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Yes.
Let's talk about the card draw thing real quick. Does a 1/1 vampire, when you cast a vampire, Edgar's Eminence ability is you get a vampire when you cast a vampire.
We haven't read Edgar at all.
Does that count as a card?
No.
I think it does.
You think?
Give it a read.
Okay. Edgar Markov is a 4/4. Does he have haste? No, he's a 4/4 for Mardu and 3 with Eminence. Whenever you play a vampire, you get a 1/1 vampire, and whenever Edgar Markov attacks, you put a +1/+1 counter on each vampire you control.
I think the 1/1 black vampire token...
Oh, and his first strike in haste also.
Yeah, he does have haste. Yeah.
He does have haste.
I think that vampire token that you get counts as a card because the cards you're packing in this deck are 1/1s for 1.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So if you're going to play that card, you have to count it as a card. So to get a second copy of that card, you have to count that as a card too.
Sure.
And I think it counts even more as a card because Edgar has haste.
Yeah.
So that 1/1 when you cast Edgar is actually a 2/2. And Edgar slaps. Like, he slaps dinks, he stink faces, he slaps
stomps lips in dirt, yeah.
He stomps lips into dirt.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not hard to see why he's here is the point we're trying to make.
But a 1/1, Brando? Is a 1/1 that good?
No.
What if I cast a vampire and then I sacrifice that 1/1? Does that play? Or do I just attack with Edgar?
Well,
like, are there decks that sack Edgar? Or sack that vampire?
Of course there are. But there are probably better ways of doing that than Edgar.
To get tokens, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It's pretty good.
It's pretty good, but you probably do better.
He slaps.
Edgar's real good.
You don't think that you're going to get beat up by an Edgar deck because they're all 1/1s, but you get beat up pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple of swings, you're in trouble.
Yeah. Let's move. Okay, we're getting into top 5.
Okay, we're in the top. And of course, the top 5 is something I think that everybody was waiting for us to mention. And I don't even think we have to talk about him that much because it's obvious why he's here.
Yes.
Kenrith, the Returned King.
He got all 5 colors.
It's the top 5, or the top 5. It's the top good stuff 5-color commander.
Yes.
I complain about it every set. Oh, here's another fucking 5-color good stuff guy.
The 5-color good stuff guy that doesn't punish you for having a 5-color casting cost. He costs white 4. He's a human, which is relevant. And he got red. Creatures gain trample and haste until end of turn. Very excellent ability. One of his best. Green 1, put a +1 counter on target creature. White 2, gain 5 life. Probably the weakest.
Yeah.
Blue 3, target player, there it is, draws a card. Probably maybe the most combo-y.
Yeah.
And black 4, put a creature onto the battlefield from its owner's graveyard. Reanimate a guy.
For somebody. I could reanimate Ryan's guy. Ryan could reanimate my guy. Reanimate our own guys.
Probably I'm going to...
Reanimate your own guy.
Reanimate my own guy. Reanimate the guy that gives me mana when he ETBs and immediately sacrifice him to reanimate him again. Infinite ETB or dies triggers.
Unless you're playing against last week's deck and you want to unearth that guy's collector oof to turn that deck off.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty good.
Yes. Or if you're playing against a control player and somebody has a Dosan, the falling leaf in their graveyard, you could unearth that so that people can't interact with you.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
there
tricksy. So the point is, Kenrith is real tricksy, and if you're going to play just a 5-color good stuff deck, this is your boy.
5-color good stuff in casual tables. Kenrith also has cEDH builds. I don't know how viable they are at this exact point in the history of cEDH, but I know because you have access to 5 and because he's got those abilities and he can give stuff haste, that he can range from casual noble tribal, sitting in a chair tribal, there it is, all the way to cEDH, and that's the reason he's got so many decks, probably.
Moving on to number 4.
Well, hold on. In my top 5 and 5, I suggested you play anything else instead.
Yes. Yes, you play any other 5-color commander.
Yep.
Speaking of 5-color commanders, let's talk about the Dragon. The Dragon Avatar 10 for 9. Eminence ability, your dragons cost 1 less. Dragon spells, could be an enchantment or something. With flying, whenever 1 or more dragons you control attack, draw that many cards. There it is.
Yep.
Then you may put a permanent card from your hand into play.
Whenever your dragons you control attack, you draw that many cards. Ooh.
Yep.
And lots of things in this deck make dragon tokens.
Yep.
This guy slaps. I had this deck, and the top end of this deck
is so high.
Is like the most powerful creature deck that you can do in Commander. Just looking at the overall card quality and power level on a dragon tribal deck that is all 5 colors.
Yeah.
It's not very fast, but you can go as high as can be with this one. And it says draw a card on it.
Yes.
Now,
and play things for free. It does everything that is the most powerful thing you can do in Commander.
Play thing for free after you draw a card.
Yeah.
Tribal, multiple colors. I'm going to say hits for 10 is one of the reasons that people play it. Like when I'm thinking back to little Ryan in grade 6 or 7 learning to play Magic again. It's like 1999 or whatever. If I see a 10-10, probably going to want to play that card.
Yeah.
Probably going to want to play that card. Now, are grade 6s entering their decks onto edhrec.com? Probably some of them are.
Some of them probably are, yeah.
Some of them are.
Some of them are just really big tryhards.
Are most of the people that are playing this deck wanting to play 5-color Dragon Tribal, and that's why it's there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you could get rid of that bottom text where you draw a card, then play it for free, and just have an Eminence ability.
It's still a good card.
And it'd still probably be in the top 10 for Dragon Commanders.
Yeah, and again, I'm going to say I'm surprised because there's the barrier to entry thing. This card is $85.
That card is $85?
It's $85 when you have a serviceable 5-color Dragon Commander in Scion of the Ur-Dragon.
I mentioned that in the top 5.
Right?
That card is $85.
$85.
There's a secret layer of that one, too. I wonder how much it is. I don't care.
Is there a secret layer of it?
Yep. It was one of the first ever secret layers ever.
I think. Are you sure? No, that was Scion of the Ur-Dragon that came in that one. The one that came with the Sliver Legion?
Maybe.
Yeah, it was Scion of the Ur-Dragon for sure. I think. I don't know.
I don't know.
Kaleidoscope Killers, baby. But
yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I got that one.
You know what? I've played this deck, and as in I've played with this deck. I've piloted this deck.
And I've played against it when he played it.
I think that it's just freaking fun to play giant flying dragons. That's how the format started. It feels traditional, classical. It feels casual. It feels Timmy. It feels like you're accomplishing something and really like when you're a dragon. I don't know if you've ever thought about being a dragon before.
All the time.
But when you're a dragon and you step down on somebody's neck, they kind of just die.
And you barely notice.
I mean, you barely notice.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a great feeling to have in playing Magic with giant frickin' dragons.
Yeah, it's a pretty epic deck to play. So it makes sense why it's here. Just the $85.
Wow, man. Let's go on to the next one. This is not $85. This is a $9 Yuriko the Tiger's Shadow Human Ninja. Need I say more there? The tribes. 1/3 for black, blue, 1. Commander Ninjutsu. Which, okay, so you go blue, black, return an unblocked attacking creature you control to your hand. That's the cost. Blue, black, return an attacker.
Yep.
Cost. put this card onto the battlefield from your hand or command zone tapped and attacking. But wait, there's more.
Of course there is.
Whenever a ninja you control, which includes Yuriko, because she's a ninja, deals combat damage to a player, reveal the top card of your library, put that card into your hand. We're going to call that drawing a card. Each opponent loses life equal to that card's converted mana cost. Now, if only there was a way in blue to shape, sculpt, tweak, rearrange, and or know what our top card is.
What? No.
Now, only if there was a way in black, Bolas' Citadel, to do same thing.
Oh, what?
And if only those kinds of cards, the Scroll Rocks, the Sensei's Divining Tops, the Bolas' Citadels, the Brainstorms and Ponders and Preordains, if only there was a way to combo, in addition to playing Ninja, Tribal, and or extra turn spells that cost 8, 9, or 10. If only there was a way to put all of that in one deck.
Wow, yeah, I hope that nobody hears this and then they start printing those cards.
That would be Yuriko the Tiger's Shadow deck.
Yeah.
And I think all of those things are great. I, for some time, had extra turn deck. I had one of those. It was great. I have a Time Warp in my Orvar the All-Form deck, which I accidentally discovered an infinite combo in one time with Time Warp.
Oh, yeah.
It was, I accidentally put it in the deck in the car on the way over.
Yeah.
I like extra turns because I like taking them, but I understand that there is some gravitas around them that people don't like. Yeah. Ninja Tribal, cool. Ninja Turtle Altars, cool. Waiting for that Secret Lair Universes Beyond. We'll get it.
Why don't do they own Nickelodeon yet?
Who owns
Hasbro? Does Hasbro own Nickelodeon? Because they're kind of...
Is it Nickelodeon or is it Mattel? Who is it?
Nickelodeon owns the rights to the Turtles. I'm not sure who they ship the prices out to, but I don't think that them and Hasbro are like homies, so we might have to wait a little while.
Might have to wait
till Hasbro buys them, and then we'll get it.
Off the back of Magic the Gathering money.
Yeah, exactly.
off the back of Lord of the Rings Magic the Gathering money. That's going to be the biggest set of all time.
Yuriko the Tiger's Shadow. Is she there? Is she there? Postulating.
Oh, yeah?
Because Dimir, but not Mildex, not Mildemir, but just Dimir, are the most popular 2-color combination?
Maybe?
Because, right? Like, she doesn't have...
EDH Rec could tell us that. I'm theorizing
we're not going to look, though, because that's not who we are.
I'm theorizing that something with green is the most popular 2-color combination, and I want to say that it's Simic. I want to say Simic is probably the most popular 2-color combination. Now, what's interesting is this is our second Dimir commander on this top 10 list, the first being Wilhelt.
Yeah, one of them was zombies.
And this one's ninjas. It's interesting that they're both tribal decks, too.
Yeah.
Mostly, I see Yuriko built as tribal decks. Ninja Tribal because ninjas have ninjutsu.
Yeah.
And that's usually how I see Yuriko. Even if it's like top deck matters Yuriko, extra turns Yuriko, it usually has some ninja aspect to it, right?
Let me hit you with this also.
Yeah.
Ninjas are fucking cool.
Yeah.
There it is.
Let me hit you with this, though.
Oh, do
How come we don't see Yannette? Yannette, the odd spells matter, top of deck odd spell matters commander? Is it because ninjas? Because that one's 3 colors, this one's 2? Because this one spoon feeds you ninjutsu top deck matters more?
Maybe lots
All
of
3?
Maybe lots of ninjas have even converted mana costs.
Hey, I never actually thought of that.
We're gonna say
2
that.
and 4. I bet you they do.
No, we're into the top 2. We've already talked about both of them actually at length on the show, but here's something that I noticed just now.
Moving to Lathril, you mean?
Yep. Yes.
Okay, give her a read.
We've talked about 8 cards so far.
Yeah.
8 of them. And they've all had something in common. And we're going to break the trend right now when we hit the top 2.
We're going to buck?
We're going to buck the system right now. Lathril
Uncle
Blade of the
Brando
Elves.
bucks.
2/4 Elf Noble for green, black, 2 with Menace. Whenever it does combat damage, you create that many green elves. Tap 10 untapped elves. Each opponent loses 10 life. You gain 10 life. Ryan, without thinking too hard about it, what is missing from that card that has been on every other card we've talked about?
It doesn't draw a card.
Does not draw a card.
I will ask you, though, like I did with Edgar, does that 1/1 count as a card? When I'm playing other 1/1 for ones like Edgar was playing, I'm playing Findorn Elf, Llanowar Elf, I'm playing other 1/1s that aren't going to attack. Lathrill's going to attack early game. She's got Menace. I'm going to power her out on turn 2 or 3. Lathrill is going to give me other 1/1 elf warriors, and that matters.
And they're going to be 2/2s because you're probably playing elf lords.
Because what am I doing?
Yeah.
Why do those 1/1s matter? Because just like Edgar, I'm going to steamroll you with 1/1s, but this gives me a higher top end than Edgar, probably faster than Edgar. Yeah. Because Lathril costs 4 and green makes more mana, thereby casting Crater Hoof Behemoth earlier.
Yeah.
That's why Lathril's the most powerful, because she does say draw a card. The card that you draw just happens to be 1/1s.
It happens to be those 3 elves that you put into play for free.
Yes, and 3 1/1s is certainly worth a card.
I'm just assuming that there's a lord in play. It's 2 all the time, but it's 3 most of the time.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Let's move on to number 1.
Have we said enough? Like, I've played Lathril. I've played Hogak in a Lathril deck where Lathril was in the 99. Then I was like, well, let's just see if this is better. And it frickin' was.
Yeah.
Right? She does the Bolus's Citadel thing where she does 10 by tapping permanents.
I think that she elfs harder than any other elf.
Oh, yeah?
She elfs the hardest, I think.
And gives you access to black, like we said earlier in the show.
Yeah.
And that's why she's number 1?
Yeah. Because, there's better elf commanders, but since you have access to black, you just find them.
She gives you more elves.
And you have access to green, so you can just find them.
And
right?
Yeah.
Just get them and get them back because you're playing black. Like, she's Are elves the most popular tribe?
Tribe?
Are they?
Well, I guess you'd have to look at how many elf tribal decks, how many different commanders lead elf tribal decks versus other popular tribes like zombies. Like, if there's 2 elf tribal decks and there's 10 different zombie tribal decks, though that's not exactly airtight, because those 2 elf tribal decks, you could have 20,000 decks there versus the 10 zombie decks, 10 different commanders that lead zombie decks with 100 decks each.
Yeah.
You still got more elf decks. So, like, EDH Rec could tell us all that.
But we're not going to look.
But we aren't them. So,
nope.
I would say yes.
Yes. So let's move on to another tribal deck, and one that specifically does not say draw a card on it.
This does not say draw a card.
It doesn't even have an algorithm, an analog to draw a card on it. It's Atraxa Creator's Voice, an angel horror 4/4 for white, blue, black, green, flying vigilance, death touch, lifelink. At the end of turn, proliferate.
I will tell you how you can approximate a draw card on Atraxa. Peep this.
Okay.
You're going to play Atraxa in decks that care about counters.
Right.
Whether they're loyalty counters, which is probably the most popular way to play it.
That's what we're gonna spoil it. That's why Atraxa is here.
Because Planeswalkers?
Because Planeswalkers are very popular. Super Friends builds are very popular.
Yes.
And by and large and far and away, Atraxa is the best Super Friends commander.
Even though she doesn't include red.
Yeah, well...
Because you got blue and black and green, and those are the colors that care or are the best.
Well, they have the best Planeswalkers, too. Like, you think of...
Because those colors are the best.
What's an unreal red Planeswalker that... what...
Duretti players are losing their fucking minds.
Well,
hey?
yeah, but you have Duretti. Duretti is better than Atraxa, I think.
Atraxa would beg to differ, because she could play, like, I don't know, Liliana the Veil, Jace the Mind Sculptor, I don't know. We all in concert. Yes. I don't know. I would say that, like, the OG Nicol Bolas Planeswalker is pretty powerful.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'd probably put Jace the Mind Sculptor in a deck before I put
OG Nick Bolas,
because I can A, cast Jace the Mind Sculptor, and B, activate 3 of his abilities.
Yeah, before Nick Bolas is being played.
Yes, exactly. And Atraxa gives me that in spades plus 3 other colors. Now, how I would approximate a card draw.
Okay.
In a couple ways.
Okay.
If we're not playing Planeswalkers, we'll talk about that in a minute. If we're not playing Planeswalker Atraxa, we're probably playing +1/+1 Atraxa. And probably there's cards in our deck that add +1 counters to things. And that's all they do. Maybe. If we can proliferate those +1 counters across all of our things, probably that's worth a card.
Too big a stretch.
Too big a stretch. Okay, let's go back to Planeswalkers then. How many times do I have to activate the average loyalty ability for it to be worth a card, in air quotes? Twice?
Two?
I know that it depends on the loyalty ability, like Jace the Mind Sculptor, again, perfect example, Brainstorm for 0.
Yeah.
Worth a card immediately.
Because it is a card.
Because it is a fucking card, right? And you still got a Jace. It's 2 cards, right? Now, if I can +1 my Jace, and he's worth a card, and or life, which is sometimes worth a card, because people attack him. So it's worth a real card and a virtual card, and I've +1'd him through Atraxa's Proliferate, and I've drawn a card. If I'm playing something like Jace...
Let's use not Jace that says draw 3 cards on it.
If I'm not using Jace, take away the Brainstorm ability. I've +1'd it through Atraxa's Proliferate ability, which maybe is worth half a card, so I'd have to do it twice. I've gained virtual life if they've attacked them, and the Planeswalker is still worth a card, the other half of that card, because I can still activate its loyalty ability, right? So I can proliferate for a 0.5 card, I can activate a loyalty ability for 0.5 card, and I can gain life because it's a blocker, which is worth a card.
Which is nothing.
Well, it might be.
It's nothing.
I think it's worth a card.
Life is shit.
Life is shit until you don't have any.
Yeah.
And you could play a Planeswalker when you're at 2 life and not die. Because if I can activate that Planeswalker and win, they have to attack it.
Well,
right?
I mean, maybe being at 2 life is a bad example.
Well,
because if I can hit the Planeswalker for 2, I can hit you for 2.
Also true.
And
but
then
you
you're
have
dead.
to remember in Atraxa decks,
You're never at 2 because she has lifelink.
A, she has lifelink. B, there's never just one Planeswalker in the Atraxa deck. There's 15 of them. So you're not going to attack me. You're going to attack the Planeswalkers, because if you don't, all of a sudden I have 10 of them and I'm drawing cards off of them.
How long
Either by drawing cards because of their loyalty ability or drawing virtual cards through their loyalty abilities. That's some magic shit right there.
That is some shit.
Fuck, Atraxa's good.
Yeah, what else can she do besides Infect, +1/+1 counter, and Planeswalker decks? The answer is everything. And
Yes.
if you go back through the CCO catalog of episodes, you will see all sorts of different Atraxa builds that we have built.
Stacks Traxa,
Sag Traxa.
Seg Traxa, yeah.
When we did Atraxa Bowl, we had 8 or 10 different creators, all of whom had different Atraxa builds, none of which were Infect.
One of which was Infect because one guy didn't know the rules.
Oh, yeah.
But just demonstrates that, like...
we had 9 different decks with the same commander.
Yeah. We did alternate win con Atraxa where it wasn't Infect as an alternate win con. It was... We ended up winning by Biovisionary.
Yeah!
But what did we have that we proliferated to win? Oh, man, what kind of stuff can you proliferate to win? Get counters. Helix Pinnacle. That's a thing, yeah.
Anything that used
100-turn Helix Pinnacle. Yeah.
Yeah, we were getting there, baby.
Oh, man, yeah. Atraxa can do everything, and it's not like she can do everything like last week's Tarzan of the Infinite.
Yeah.
Mono combo, mono black deck.
Mono infinite combo, infinite guy, yeah.
This is 4 different colors. And you can play all the best cards from those colors, which include such hits like any sweeper you could dream of, any card draw you could dream of, any reanimation you could dream of, any tutor you can dream of, and any protection that you can dream of.
Yes. She's basically 5 colors.
She's basically 5 colors. Because Red's like, fuck, I got gamble, guys. And they're like, get your gamble the fuck out of here.
You gamble my ass on your balls. Get out of here. God.
Gamble my gamble onto your chin.
And I'm the one that plays red, and even I can appreciate
But
that
you
she
also
doesn't
play
need red.
Atraxa and can speak from experience.
Yes.
And you play Stacks Traxa where you're proliferating soot counters and tangle wire fading counters and probably some loyalty counters.
Magistrate Scepter counters, Dovin Bond. I have an... Wait, what is it? Yeah, he makes a Winter Orb, but just for you guys and not me. Oh, man. That's brutal.
So you're saying that not only does she have a range in power level, she has a range in stratagem, unlike Lathril, which has not really range in stratagem, only power level.
Atraxa is I think that she is the most do everything commander that there is.
Yeah,
I think that she
we're
might
not
be.
being revolutionary either. Like every
Everybody knows
long-time
that.
Magic player is going to know this. This is us unpacking our thoughts long form as opposed to the CCO's top 5 in 5 from last week or whatever. But if you're new to the nation and want to know how we think, or if you're new to Magic in general, maybe this gave you some insight as to why these commanders are good. And here's what I want to hit them with. This is my final thought before I let you take over.
I'm going to final thought. It's so hard.
My final thought is we do shows like this talking about the most popular thing, which is contrary to what CCO was built on.
Yeah.
Doing weird shit with nobody commanders from no hometown.
Yes. Nobody from nowhere.
And we're doing this to exemplify the thing that most people do. And if you do this, what we're talking about, I'm pointing at the screen, if you do the things that we've talked about this episode, you might not be doing the most creative thing, even if you think that you're being creative. And that's not anybody's fault, especially if you're new. And there's nothing wrong with doing it. If you want to play Corvold or Wilhelt or Prosper or whomever, do it. But you might not be being as creative as you think. And we would encourage you to look into the bottom 10. Maybe that's the next episode. The bottom 10 commanders and how would we build them? Why do they have no lists? How do we make them better?
We already did that.
Well, we did. We did it a few years ago, but I can guarantee all of it's changed.
Yeah, they have changed by now. Yeah.
So be creative. Don't just go to the most popular thing and see what's powerful and what everybody's doing. Make your own path. Hey, fuck. There's the CCO life lesson of the day. Brando, final thought of the day.
Or let me just, I'm going to
piggyback.
put a little thing.
Touch tip on me.
Build one of these, and maybe you will have done something different without even knowing it.
Hey.
You could be the one to revolutionize Lathril. Who knows? And,
I like that.
Take a big swing. Check this out.
Be a big swinging dink.
Another thing, another overarching thing of all these cards. 8 of the top 10, pre-con commanders.
Ooh, there's the
Ouch.
hit. There's the hit. Which one ain't?
Kenrith Returned King was not a pre-con, and Omnath, Locus of Creation.
Yep, there you go.
So there you have that. You can do with that what you will. I'm not going to say that WotC is purposefully printing commanders that are super strong that everybody likes, but they are, and they're doing a good job of it, obviously. Because they're building things that people want to build.
Yeah, and look at number 12, also a pre-con commander. Yeah. After 12. Yeah, after 12. No, it looks
12,
okay.
Yeah, after 12 we get regular until we hit Marin.
Until we hit Marin, yeah.
But even then, awesome. The point is, build what you want to build. These top ones are there for a reason, and if you want to build something that's strong and good but still has your own flavor, pick one of these because they're fucking good, obviously.
Yeah.
And lots of other people
you can build them wrong and still be good.
Hell yeah, and that's... Which means they're right, because there is no wrong way to build. Double CCO life lesson, and we're going to be back tomorrow to give more of those on another special bonus edition of Commander Cookout Podcast. Hit our theme song! FusionGamingOnline.com, your source for all your gaming needs.